They've done it!
Unbelievable! Alain Prost gets out.
The story of the 1990 Formula One World Championship began in 1989 at Suzuka in Japan. The crash between arch-rivals Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna that left Prost the 1989 champion led to a winter of discontent between Senna and the governing body FISA. Over the next 1.5 hours, we look back with the 1990 world champion Ayrton Senna at how a remarkable season unfolded. As he arrived in Phoenix for the first race last March, it can hardly have been an ideal way to start.
It was a unique experience in my whole career, for the obvious reasons after end of '89 season and a few months of winter. We had a lot going on, a lot of difficulties, and it had contributed only to demotivate me to continue driving. And after all, we decided to have a go again, and we went to Phoenix for the first race, for the opening race. But I found myself in a very, very uncomfortable situation where I didn't have motivation to drive. And since the reason I drive is my motivation, is the desire that is inside me to drive and to compete and to challenge for victories. If I didn't have those things, then I had no ingredients to put myself in the right manner, in the right state of mind in the car, in the racing car. Basically, just did it by my instincts because I had no feelings for it at all. And I remember on the practice sessions of the race itself, I couldn't even understand what the car was doing, what was going on. It was almost impossible for me to concentrate and try to remember what was going on with the car. And I could only drive, basically. That I could do, really by my instincts more than anything. And of course, it was good enough to win.
The red light. Green is go. Gerhard Berger takes the lead. Berger is the fastest away. All those sparks coming up, the car's full of fuel. And indeed, look at that, John diving through on the inside.
Jean Alesi did what I expected him to do. He's got a lot of grip from his Pirelli tyres, and he is going to lead this race and then stamp his... Oops, and we had a little bit of a shunt. One of the Benettons has lost bodywork. Go to Williams. Oops, and another car behind has lost bodywork also. Yeah, one of the two Williams, I think it was Patrase's car, lost the nose and the front wing, so he'll be in the pit straight away at the end of the first lap. Oh, and McLaren, Gerhard Berger is out of the race. He's in the tyre wall. Yes, he just lost the car. Oh, and he hit it fairly hard. Right rear corner, right front corner, so Berger's race going from the lead. After 9 laps, he's out of it, and that's a great shame.
After 32 laps, Alesi, Senna, Boots and Piquet, Marino, Mansell. And it's very close now. Is this the move, John?
Looks like it, yes, he's got it. He managed to slid through. He came out of the corner. He got a good run. Look at Alesi diving down the inside. Oh, my goodness. My goodness, that is Jean Alesi.
Got the lead back.
What an amazing overtaking. That Ayrton Senna, I don't care who you are. Because you passed me, it doesn't stop me from having a go again.
Just see it again in replay.
A perfect shot by Senna. He did it all right. He came down the inside, timed it correctly. We're on the right part of the road. But he was on the inside and he slid a little bit wide. No, he didn't. Senna, in fact, left the door open for Alesi to go through. Once again, Senna's got a good chance. There we go. But he's on the inside again. and watch Alain, but this time the gap isn't being produced, and Alain's had to. Senna's always been very quick at picking up, but look at Alain doing the same thing again. My goodness.
Offline now, though.
Yep, and Senna's tyres are covered in muck and dirt, having had to go offline to really block Alain from going through. His tyres will have picked up a load of rubber and so on and so forth that's on the offline part of the racetrack. But the aggression that Alain has, the sheer motivation and drive is absolutely stunning.
Nice close up there. This is Washington Street.
And actually, Ayrton Senna waving. There's a lot of Brazilian support here. Flags there. We can see some Brazilian flags. He even took his right hand off the steering wheel to wave to those people.
Ayrton Senna wins the Phoenix Grand Prix. First blood to Ayrton Senna. Second place to Jean Alain. He has still to come to the flag.
A winning start to 1990 for Ayrton, somewhat against the odds, but a remarkable performance too by the young Frenchman Jean Alain. What did Ayrton think of this new competition?
He drove it very well. He did a fantastic race. Tyrrell was in a position to give him a good car to perform. Pirelli tires also provide them with good tires on that circuit on that day. And putting everything together, they performed very well. And it was again, I think, for the public, good to see somebody young and full of power and desire to do it, and challenging and overtaking, taking chances and demonstrating the sheer desire for winning.
The other main rivals for the 1990 World Crown fared less well in the opening round. Nigel Mansell, retained by Ferrari for a second season, was forced out in dramatic fashion when his engine blew up. In characteristic style, Nigel controlled the resulting spin and finished parked against the barrier, wondering what might have been. Mansell was joined at Ferrari by three-time world champion Alain Prost. After his battles with Ayrton Senna during 1989, Prost was keen to show that he could be competitive in the Scarlet Italian cars. Early retirement was his fate in Phoenix, but as the Grand Prix circus moved to Sao Paulo in Brazil, Prost was even more hungry for victory in Senna's hometown. In front of a large and wildly enthusiastic crowd, Ayrton took pole position, the 43rd of his career. He's never won his home Grand Prix, but in 1990 he looked well on the way to achieving that goal. He had a comfortable lead as he came up to lap the Tyrrell of Satoru Nakajima. But this was not to be his day. Nakajima closed the door, and with it went Ayrton's front wing and his chances of victory. That left the way clear for Prost to snatch a win, but a battling third place from Senna retained the championship lead. Despite the result, had Ayrton's motivation been restored?
What really got me going again was to race in my country, in front of all my Brazilian fans. There was a huge crowd in Brazil, and they were all going for me, and that really got me going. I slowly through the weekend got involved in the atmosphere again, and got motivated, and after that race, although I didn't win, I had all the necessary feelings back with me to restart the whole work again. So really, the season for me didn't start in Phoenix at all. It started after Brazil.
5 weeks after Brazil saw the teams at Imola in Italy for the San Marino Grand Prix, what many people saw as the start of the season proper. It also marked the introduction of new regulations for the 1990 season. After their promising start to the year, the Tyrrell team had produced what must go down as the innovation of 1990. A curious anhedral front wing, designed to increase downforce and thus to make the underpowered Tyrrell more competitive. Time was to prove its effectiveness. Meanwhile, in qualifying, Ayrton Senna set about proving his mastery.
Looks like a quick one. Just about 58 seconds under that bridge on our stopwatch, and we know that's going to be a quick one if he gets there. That that soon.
Anything under a minute at the bridge is very, very fast indeed. Now it's much, much more settled. The car looks right. He looks totally in control of the situation. And I think we're going to see a very, very fast lap from Senna.
But Lazy's kept up remarkably well. Look at that. Lazy across. Coming up on the timing screen now. Senna 1 minute 23.220. Senna snatches the pole from Gerhard Berger, the 44th pole in his career.
Yes, yet another pole position for the Brazilian, and alongside him on the front row, teammate Gerhard Berger. But would McLaren's domination of qualifying be reflected on race day?
Holding quite a long time, Red.
Oh, jump start, big jump start. Berger went.
I think both the McLarens went, John. I wonder if they're going to red flag this race and try and start it again. Didn't seem to get much of an advantage. Everyone seemed to go.
Yes, I think, oh dear me.
Mansell, I think, out in the dirt.
And a couple of, somebody's at the back, one of the Brabhams has gone off.
Bang!
Maybe it was a Tyrrell, we couldn't see. Alain squeezing down, pushing through one of the Ferraris.
Capelli's off. Oh, Senna! What's happening there? Senna is off in the dirt, trying to keep it going, because if he doesn't, he'll get stuck. Senna is out! Senna is out! I don't think he's going to move it from there.
No, the car has buried itself now in the sand. There's no way he can move it. We don't know why that happened. Let's have a look. We hope they have a replay of that incident and see what took place. Here we are coming round into the Ravazza corners, and Boutsen has driven down the inside. Senna's locked up the left front. Yes, but look, the right rear, the tyre, he has picked up a puncture somewhere on the circuit. And that's all he could do. He wasn't able to do any more. And that's a great shame.
Senna out with yet another piece of bad luck. But by lap 36, Berger led, chased by the Ferrari of Mansell.
But here we go, oh, my Mansell! Oh, my goodness! But he's okay, he's kept it going.
Wow!
What an amazing piece of driving, but that was naughty. Berger deliberately drove him off the track. That was unbelievable, something I would not have expected Berger to do. Mansell was committed to coming past him. He had no room to go. He had to go off the track. He spun, and amazing, he not only kept the car going, but it ended up in the right direction, engine running, probably got it down into third or fourth gear. But that was naughty, that was wrong of Berger. And he was ever so lucky that Mansell did not have a major accident. But his tyres undoubtedly will be flat spotted from that spin. You can see the marks on the track. Mansell, I suspect, is now going to have to come into the pits and put on some fresh tyres.
There's Nigel Mansell. What an exciting driver he is, John. No wonder the...
that's it. Mansell's race is finished. His engine has blown up. What we've been watching throughout the course of the race suddenly is ended, and that's a sad retirement. That's a major engine blow up. And after a brilliant drive by Mansell, in which he had all sorts of conditions to contend with, first Cesarez bumping into him, then with Berger forcing him off the track, and then an enormous spin. He kept the car running and still started to catch back up to Berger, but that's it. The engine is blown up in the biggest possible way. Nigel Mansell, unfortunately, an end to his race.
Riccardo Patrese heading for home, charging down the hill now towards Ravazza. Look at the oil on the front of his helmet. That probably came out of Nigel Mansell's car. Heading for his third ever career victory out of 195 starts. It's going to be his best win to date, no question of that. A great fillip for Frank Williams and all the team. Riccardo Patrese wins in front of a home crowd. He raises a hand, slows down. Gerhard Berger just makes it second.
A popular win for the veteran Italian Riccardo Patrese. 3 races down and 3 different winners. Prost could only manage 4th at Imola, and so as they moved to Monaco for round 4, Senna still held a slender 1-point lead. The narrow streets of Monte Carlo on the French Riviera are a somewhat outdated venue for the modern Grand Prix car, but the setting retains a unique place in motor racing history. What were Ayrton Senna's thoughts as he faced the 1990 encounter?
Monaco is the most traditional race in Formula 1 of all times. It has the most audience, the most number of people following it. And being a street circuit with so much history behind, both the technical aspect is a major challenge for you to do it right, to not hit the wall to stay on the circuit, yet with no margin for error, and the challenge of doing well on such a glamorous place with so much history. So when you put both things together, to win Monte Carlo is a special victory. I won there first time in '87, almost won in '88, and then I won in '89, and I was fortunate enough to win again in 1990.
Red now, green go, great start from Prost, but he tucks in behind Senna. Senna in first, Jean Alesi being forceful, then the two Williams, Berger in there. Big problem for one of the late houses. And up the hill, John.
Yes, it looked like Capelli's engine house had a small fire at the back of the engine, probably an oil line has ruptured, and that's going to be the end of his race, 300 yards into it.
Well, look at Alesi now, down the inside, and it looks as if he got second place. Oh, and a shot there.
Gerhard Berger tried to take advantage of a lazy, forcing his way past Prost. Prost is out. Oh man, we've got a traffic jam here. Prost and Berger. Berger's lost the left front tire and wheel. Prost is out of the race, and now we've got, well, you just have to wait until this clears to see how many cars. I think we've got a Lola Lamborghini in there as well, but certainly 3 cars are out of the race before we've even completed a lap, and Alain Prost will be absolutely furious, because really it was the move on Jean Alesi's part who forced his way down the inside and the only overtaking part of the circuit.
Red flag, they've red flagged the race, so we will have a restart. Let's look at that again, John.
Alesi dived down the inside of Prost. Berger saw the situation, tried to take advantage of Prost having to go wide in the corner, ran into the right rear wheel of Prost Ferrari, took the left front off his McLaren Honda. They're both out, and of course we see a Brabham in fact getting airborne. Looked like it was Modena car, but we've got one car. Yes, it is the Brabham of Modena. So those 3 cars undoubtedly out of the race.
After the restart, Senna soon established his dominance on the narrow streets. With both Ferraris retiring, Ayrton came to the final lap with a seemingly comfortable lead over second-placed Jean Alesi.
Senna to Alesi now, 7.8 seconds. This is the last lap, and well, I don't know, John. Is Senna being ultra clever?
He may be, but he's also being ultra cautious. He's got just over 3 seconds of a lead to Jean Alesi, but there's no chance, in my opinion. I'm going to have to be a bit careful, because I can now see Alesi where we weren't able to see it before. But I believe that Senna is very much in control. He's got sufficient of a lead, and I think that all he will be doing is just being super, super cautious.
But we can't be sure. What a sensational finish then for the Monaco Grand Prix as they go into the tunnel for the last time. Senna out of the tunnel. There he is coming down to the chicane. There's Alesi. Less than 3 seconds now. Berger climbing all over the back of Alesi. Round to back. Senna certainly making a race. Oh dear, oh dear. Closing still. Is this Senna the master technician, or is he nursing the car home? Can Alesi beat him in the sprint to the line? Everyone's waving, everyone is up on their feet. But no, Senna's going to do it. There's a flag. There's Jackie Hicks. Senna does it. Alesi second. Berger third. What a finish for the Monaco Grand Prix.
A third victory at Monaco for Ayrton Senna, and his delight was heightened by the chance to meet one of his motor racing heroes.
On the race day, in the evening, we were able to have a dinner with lots of people from the Formula One circus, and amongst them the one that for me is the greatest of the greatest, Fangio. And I was sitting next to him, the dinner, and to share a few moments with such a man, not only because of his 5 titles, I never saw him racing for instance, but a man that has so much knowledge, so much experience, like a real encyclopedia. It's fantastic. And I remember that when I went on the stage as the winner and I had to give few words, it just came natural from my heart to offer him that day that victory, because I really felt it.
After 4 races, Ayrton Senna led the Drivers' Championship by 6 points from McLaren teammate Gerhard Berger. Jean Alesi was 3rd, doing a remarkable job for Tyrrell, with Prost 4th. Join us after the break for round 5. Round 5 of the 1990 Formula One World Championship, the Canadian Grand Prix, was held on the Île Notre Dame in Montreal, a man-made island in the middle of the St. Lawrence Seaway. Ayrton Senna, leading the championship by 6 points from Gerhard Berger, had again claimed pole position for what turned out to be a rather wet and controversial race.
Here's the red light on now. On Berger
was
moved
creepy.
away.
Well, we don't know if he's going to get a penalty for that. Senna it is into the lead though. Berger second.
Yes, Berger had indeed jumped the start, his penalty for doing so being a 1-minute deduction to his time, effectively ending his hopes of victory. It was a day of mixed fortunes for Benetton's Alessandro Nannini. He briefly led the race during the round of pit stops, only to fall foul of the conditions as he lost control while trying to pass Jean Alesi, and he ended up slamming into the tyre wall. As Senna cruised on towards victory, the conditions also put paid to Alesi's hopes as he crashed into the wreckage of Nannini's car.
Oh, again, look at that. Alesi's car has gone into... My goodness, that was a pretty awful accident, but John Alesi is quite all right. He did the very same thing, it would appear, that Nannini did a number of laps earlier. He came down, probably tried to pass somebody on the wet part of the track, has gone out of control and smashed into Nannini's Benetton, broken the Benetton in 2. Alesi's Tyrrell is also damaged, but Alesi was able to climb out of the car totally unhurt.
Senna has totally dominated this race. Wonderful combination of that excellent McLaren chassis. The man with the flag's having a bit of a practice.
I don't know what he's doing. I've never seen a man wave the flag 15 or 20 seconds before the leader comes round to take it. Maybe he was just practicing, or maybe he was slightly confused. I don't know what he's holding it out for, because...
I think that's something... Oh, now he's giving it the real thing. Just wanted something to do with Gerhard Berger, of course, on the road, won the motor race.
Well,
but had that
I'd like to think he was a little bit more aware of what was going on than that. But there is the winner, Ayrton Senna. And what a masterful victory that was.
A brilliant performance in the difficult conditions. And Senna's championship lead was now 12 points over Berger and 17 over arch-rival Prost. But which of 1990's races does the man himself consider his best?
I think I did a fantastic race in Mexico. And it was one of those places that I didn't expect to do well at all, under the technical conditions of our car related to Ferrari and the circuit. And yet, we finally, just on the race day, managed to set up the car in such a way that I had it in my hands, the ability to fight and go for it. And I had a tremendous race, had done the whole hard work, and then I had a puncture, which took away completely the race result. But despite not winning, it was a beautiful race I did for myself.
With Senna's retirement, Alain Prost, who had started 13th on the grid, his lowest position since 1980, came through to take victory, the start of a run which would see him take the lead in the championship. It was left to teammate Nigel Mansell to provide the excitement as he snatched second place with what was probably the year's most daring passing manoeuvre, as he shot round the outside of Gerhard Berger on the banked Parabolica curve. Mexico saw Alain Prost move into second place in the Drivers' Championship. Level with Gerhard Berger, he'd cut Ayrton Senna's lead to 8 points. And 3 drivers shared 4th spot, Jean Alesi, Nigel Mansell and Nelson Piquet. 3 days later, and the teams were at Silverstone, testing in preparation for the British Grand Prix. Ayrton Senna's contract with McLaren expired at the end of 1990, and there was much speculation on whether he would remain with the Woking-based team. Did team director Ron Dennis enjoy the complexities of the negotiations?
Well, it's part of the game. I think Ayrton is really quite focused on trying to understand and believe in our technical capabilities for the next 2 or 3 years, and of course it's with me to demonstrate to him that we're going to be a competitive force throughout the future. But that's all part of the game. You know, his obvious rate card is determined by how much we need to rely on the driver. If you have an inferior car, obviously the call on the driver's talents is far greater than if you have a car that anyone can win in, and that tends to reflect through into the negotiating stance. So about this period of the year, it's quite obvious that the driver tends to focus in on your weaknesses and expose those weaknesses both to each other and also to the media, because of course the media unfortunately plays a great part in let's say stripping away the underbellies of the situations, and they all, as you know, all love to play the game. It's my view that, you know, that's where it becomes a little more difficult to manage an organisation. You have to be the stabilising influence and keep everybody's mind focused on the job.
So do you anticipate having the same driver lineup for 1991?
I'm quite optimistic, but anyone as clever as Ayrton is almost impossible to totally read. I think what I would say is that our motives are the same, and our intensity of commitment is similar, and that intensity of commitment is hard to find in other teams. Let's hope I'm able to demonstrate it better than anyone else to him.
The first weekend in July at the Paul Ricard circuit for what will probably be the last French Grand Prix to be held at the southern French track. Was Ayrton confident of victory in the championship?
You never know that you're going to win a race when you're leading, even more a championship. It was a tough championship, long, very stressful. From the past few years, that was the year that I worked harder between racing and testing. But before the championship start, just looking at progress from different teams over the winter and from the end of last year, I tried to figure out what would take to win this year under normal circumstances. And I, quite early in the season, I could already predict that it was not a championship of only first places, but you need some second place and some thirds, because I was led to believe that different drivers, different cars would win the races. Therefore, you would have to count some points, not only 9 points, but 6, 4, maybe not 3 or 2. That was not enough in my mind, and I did state that early in the season, and it's good to confirm that it was the right strategy, the right prediction for a season before you're actually doing it, because that is after all also a challenge for you to understand where you are, how you should do, and what it takes to achieve your objective right from the beginning. And there were hard times halfway through, but we were able together as a team to pull together a few special things and get some victories and some second places when we needed. And when we couldn't, we got third places, which would also count later in the season, as it has counted in the end.
On the track, Senna was only second quickest in qualifying, behind the Ferrari of Nigel Mansell. But the French Grand Prix had a further surprise in store.
Off we go. Good start from Mansell. Excellent start from Mansell off the pole. Looks a fairly clean one, but the first corner always dodgy. The Leighton House all locked up. Capelli, that was going down the inside, but it's Mansell leading. Prost second.
So it's Mansell leading, Berger second.
The two McLarens made an impressive start, but Berger dropped back following a poor pit stop. The McLaren pit crew waited in readiness as Senna came charging in for new tyres, but for once the slickest team in the pit lane came unstuck.
Problem with the left rear. Oh, yes. Seconds ticking away. Now they've got the air gun on. Now they've done it. That's the first stop, 16 seconds, Senna.
A poor stop indeed for Senna, and that was to cost him the victory. But now a total surprise. The new leader, Ivan Capelli, in the Leighton House, a car that hadn't even qualified for the race in Mexico. Lap after lap, he was chased by Alain Prost as the finish line got ever nearer.
Prost very close. Yes, he's having another rush up to the back of Capelli. Again, staying as close as he's there. Look at the speed off the corner. Now he's going down the inside. Prost has taken the lead finally. 2 laps to go. Alain Prost has passed Ivan Capelli. He was just so much quicker through the corner and especially off the corner. The acceleration off the corner gave him the opportunity to pass Capelli. Now Alain Prost, all he has to do, look at the speed of the car. There's about almost 10 miles an hour difference in that part of the circuit. Prost has done what he did to Ayrton Senna last year, repeated the medicine to Ivan Capelli this year.
Capelli, what thoughts are running through his head now? It will still be the greatest success of his career to finish second. He led the race from lap number 33 all the way through to lap 78. He'll just be hoping and praying that the jet engine holds together now. Prost, Capelli, Senna. That is the top 3 here at Paul Ricard. You've seen it live from the starting light to the checkered flag, which is coming up in just 30-40 seconds time now. Prost, the confidence and arrogance of a man who has won more Grand Prix than anyone else in history. Alain Prost heading towards the flag for Ferrari. Ferrari scoring their second successive victory. We saw them win in Mexico. Now we see Alain Prost win the French Grand Prix. His third successive win. Victory number 100 for Ferrari. Alain Prost wins. What about Capelli? Capelli finishes second. He's delighted. He's almost caught by Senna. He pulls off. But it's definitely second to Capelli. It's third to Ayrton Senna. Senna putting in a very quick lap. Capelli presumably in problems. There is Prost. The point. Senna 35. Prost 32. Berger 25. Piquet 15. Mansell 13. Alain 13.
Alain Prost's second win in a row, and he was now only 3 points behind Senna. Victory in France was also the 100th Grand Prix win for the Ferrari team. But what did Ayrton think about the Leighton House performance?
It was great to see it happening, because race after race you see always the same faces and the same cars, the same engines up in front. And sometimes unexpectedly, unusually, when you see something different happening, is good, because it changes a little bit the scene, and is good for the people who are fighting the whole time to get at least in the race. And sometimes if they can suddenly fight for a podium, it's beautiful. For the public is also a fact for more interest, and it was a beautiful race too. It was unexpected, but it was beautiful to see it happening.
Welcome back. Round 8 of the 1990 Formula One World Championship, the British Grand Prix, was held at Silverstone. The swelteringly hot weather reflected the state of the championship, with Alain Prost now mounting a big challenge. However, in qualifying, it was Prost's teammate Nigel Mansell who provided the competition for Ayrton Senna. Amid growing rumours of Mansell's unhappiness with both the Ferrari team and his teammate, Mansell claimed his engine on Friday was down on power. Nevertheless, Saturday saw him snatch pole position in front of an ecstatic home crowd. Senna had to be content with second fastest as he tried to hold off Prost's challenge for the world crown.
Red light on. Go! Go! And a good start from Senna. Mansell putting across to try and block him, but no, Senna's got the lead. Taken from Mansell, that coveted first place, and he's first into Copse Corner.
Yes, an absolutely stunning start from Senna. As you said, Nigel used those tactics, but they didn't work. Senna it is. Leads Mansell, leads Berger. Boutsen in fourth spot.
Senna away in the lead, but Nigel Mansell had soon closed in, and after one failed attempt, he passed Ayrton with this classic outbraking manoeuvre as they came into the Woodcote chicane. Mansell now leading, but there was more trouble in store for Ayrton Senna.
Now we see it.
It's coming out of Copse Corner. He got over the curb. The belly of the car rode the curb. Both wheels, both sides of the car got airborne. He spun on the inside, and that's a very uncharacteristic mistake from Ayrton Senna, but that's the pressure currently in Formula One.
That's Mansell. We heard him come back past the commentary box. We didn't see it on the screen, and we heard him fighting for gears, John. Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. I heard an enormous... That Ferrari engine must have gone to 20,000 revs, and let's suspect that that's been the problem that Nigel's been contending with all through the race.
Oh, no.
What a sad end. I mean, that is a great, great shame.
Nigel Mansell out of the British Grand Prix. A superb drive for him. On 3 separate occasions, he took the lead. Senna now 5th. Nigel climbs out of the cockpit. Look at the disappointment. You can tell, we can't see his face, but just by his arm movements, he waves to the crowd. He's always a showman, Nigel, isn't he? Look at that.
Yes, but they come here to see him.
Oh.
And, he's given them, I tell you, the most incredible value for money. The guy is, without doubt, the most charismatic driver currently in Formula One.
He walked past that intriguing flag. You're not meant to do that to the Union Jack, by the way.
And Gerhard Berger has stopped. He's pulling off. This is on the Hanger Straight. Gerhard Berger has decided that that's the end of his race. We don't know what the problem, but it has to look like, again, terminal mechanical problem.
Indeed, Prost, in fact, on his last lap.
He's dropped down to a 1 minute 19.8. Such is the lead he has over Thierry Boutsen that he doesn't have to worry any longer. He's now just cruising back. He'll probably even go quicker than this. An out lap from the pits.
Yes, Prost won this race once before. Won in 1985, driving for McLaren, of
We
course.
saw a lot of bodywork in the middle of the track there. Somebody has gone off on Hanger Straight. We couldn't see who it is, but there was certainly lots of bodywork from a car lying in the middle of the track.
Well spotted, John. Prost then heading towards the checkered flag. Ferrari flags waving. Great day for the Ferrari fans. And Nelson Piquet going quite slowly there. Prost deciding that discretion is the better part of valour. Boutsen still 3/4 of a minute behind him, so he's no worries. He comes towards the line, and Alain Prost is the winner of the British Grand Prix. Prost the winner. We'll have to wait a long time for the second place man to come home. Prost it is, who has 41 points. And in the World Championship table, a different look at the top. It's a new name, Alain Prost, 41 points. Senna now dropped to second, 2 points behind, 39. Third, Berger, 25. Fourth, Piquet, 18. Boutsen has 17. Alain and Mansell, 13 each. And Patrese, 10. The champagne sprayed, but another story was going on behind the pits. Nigel Mansell was making a major statement about his career. This is what he had to say.
I've just come to tell you, that I'm retiring at the end of the year, and I'd like to thank you all. I look forward to seeing you all in Germany, but in one sentence, in one word, I'm looking forward to spending time with my family, but my own family and things first, and hopefully at the end of the year turning into a little bit of a businessman.
The row between Mansell and teammate Prost had finally come to a head. Did this turn of events surprise Ayrton Senna?
Sure, I was surprised. Because being outside the team that he drives for, Ferrari, you never know what is really going on there. You have some ideas, particularly when you work with his teammate in the past 2 years. You know lots of things by yourself. But being outside of it, you never know what's going on. And when I hear his announcement, which surely was an emotional moment for him, it was a surprise. But fortunately, he was able to reconsider and reposition himself again to be amongst us next year.
Round 9, the German Grand Prix, was held at Hockenheim near the historic town of Heidelberg. Prost had now won 3 races in a row, and with the next few Grand Prix held on circuits likely to favour the better handling Ferrari, a win here for Senna was vital to a successful championship challenge. Once again, the McLaren team proved equal to the task.
Red lights are on. Go, it's green. And Senna's got a start, but Berger's cooling alongside him, coming up into the first. Right-hander, but Senna takes it, Berger second. The 2 Ferraris following through.
And the Ferrari is very close indeed, a bit of swapping and changing going on there.
But we've got Stefano Martin on here, we've got Pero and Alio too. Some are just coming down. We've got 2 cars out, plus Stefano Martin, who was very slow indeed off the start. But here we are into the first chicane. Still the 2 McLarens, 2 Ferraris.
So Ayrton Senna, who has already had 3 victories this year, and of course trails Alain Prost by 2 points in the World Championship. Very keen to redress the balance. It's gone Ferrari's way for the last 3 Grand Prix, and McLaren very keen. Maybe that's an underestimation. Absolutely desperate almost to redress this balance, and if they can do it here at Hockenheim, they would be a very happy team indeed. But there is possibly the biggest threat of all, Alain Prost, who leads, as we say, the World Championship, flaming out of the back, almost like the turbo days there, John.
There you see the McLaren pits ready to accept Ayrton Senna's car. We believe he's going to finish this lap, do 1 more lap and then come in, but let's wait and see. Senna may decide. The pits are ready for him. He will be in contact with the pits. He's coming. In fact, I believe we're going to see Senna coming in now. He's got a clear pit lane. The McLaren mechanics are standing there. They've got those 4 wheels ready. They've got the air guns ready. The car will be jacked up, and with a little bit of luck, Senna will have those 4 Goodyear wheels and tyres changed somewhere around about 7 seconds, and he will be able to continue. He probably will lose the lead. He's got a 15-second lead over Riccardo Patrese, and Senna is in the pit lane. It's rather slow entry in, but he's the first pit in the pit lane. He will be able to get his tyres on, locking up the front brakes as he comes in. The clock now running. Both rear wheels off easily. Both rear wheels on quickly. That's a great stop. 6 point. That's the quickest stop I've ever seen. That is fantastic. Senna out of the pit lane, and we've got Nannini and Patrese. Nannini having just, I believe, taken the lead, but Senna going back out onto the circuit, and he is now fighting. He's in 2nd place behind Nannini, Patrese in 3rd, but Senna on new tyres is going to try and pull out and pass Nannini before this first chicane. He's got the horsepower to do it. Can he make it? No, he's decided not to. He's going to wait. Alessandro Nannini leading the race on the 18th lap. Ayrton Senna 2nd just behind him, but remember, Senna on fresh tyres. Nannini and Patrese in 3rd spot have not yet been into the pits. Prost and Berger have made pit stops for tyres. Berger running 5th, Prost running 7th, and it's all happening. It's unbelievable.
Big attack on there for 1st place, but also noticing that Prost is definitely dropping back from Berger now. The gap there has opened up to 19 seconds, but look at this. This is Senna's big major attack.
And he's taken the lead. Senna has come alongside Nannini, timed it absolutely perfectly, taken the lead into the 3rd chicane. Nannini was not in a position to respond. He had no more speed. Senna got out of the slipstream at the right time, got himself alongside Nannini, and that's all he had to do. Once he was alongside, that was it as far as Nannini was concerned. He had to concede his lead. Ayrton Senna has taken in a very well judged and masterful overtaking manoeuvre, and Ayrton Senna is now in the lead. Alessandro Nannini in 2nd spot. Gerhard Berger a further 7 seconds behind Nannini in 2nd place, and Alain Prost, as you say, Alan, sliding away from Berger, now probably 20 seconds behind Gerhard Berger in the 2nd Honda McLaren. But this man, the man leading the race, Ayrton Senna, who led the race at the start, who then went into the pits, changed tyres, had the quickest pit stop I've ever seen, rejoined the race just behind Nannini, but stayed there a very long time indeed. And it was only within the last 8 laps that he was able to finally pass Nannini. but I think that was a part of a very well thought out and executed game plan on the part of Senna and McLaren. They didn't charge too hard on those new second set of tyres, but the point of the race where it mattered, the last quarter of the race, Senna made his attack, got past, took the lead, and has opened up a comfortable lead, and is now only 4 corners away from checking the checkered flag and having his first victory in 4 races. Look, taking his hand off the wheel, waving to the crowds, waving to the pits. In fact, that's just behind the McLaren hospitality unit, so there are a few people there that probably were showing their pleasure at this performance from Ayrton Senna and the entire Marlboro McLaren team. They've done a fantastic job. They came here to win the race. Senna has done that for them. He's got 9 points. He's back on the winner's trail.
And Nannini comes through in second place after a very creditable performance indeed. But Senna now clocks up his 24th win. He's also broken all records in pole positions. He's now got 47. And of course, the big news is that he goes back into the lead into the World Championship.
Well, Benetton has been progressing very much. And it was only a question of time that they would do well. And that started to happen in Germany. And if you look some other races too, they were doing very well. They have a good compact car with a small engine that is, under some circumstances, is a good package for being competitive. And again, it's just proving right the prediction that different cars would win, different drivers would win, and different people would be there fighting for the first 3 places at every race. And it's good for the public, good for the show.
Hungary played host to round 10. The tight and twisting Hungaroring circuit near Budapest on the banks of the Danube was expected to favour Ferrari. Overtaking here is very difficult, so pole position was particularly vital. If Ayrton could start in front, he might be able to keep the Ferraris behind him. However, not for the first time in 1990, another name went onto the list of pole winners. Thierry Boutsen, who'd been struggling all season with a rather uncompetitive Williams, chose this moment to get everything right. Teammate Patrese joined in, and we went to the start with an all-Williams front row.
Red, green, a very, very quick start. And the 2 Williams closing up. And Gerhard Berger trying to find a way through, but he didn't, but he really gets a slingshot into the first corner.
Yes, Berger has managed to take second spot from Riccardo Patrese, but Boutsen has maintained the lead from his pole position. Mansell in 4th spot. Alain sliding through inside Ayrton Senna. De Cesaris going round the outside of Piquet. But Boutsen maintaining the lead now. Berger second, Patrese third. And an aggressive-looking Nigel Mansell looking to take that 3rd spot from Riccardo Patrese. The field now fires up. And there is Alain Prost's car, and he is out of the race. That is the end of Prost's Hungarian Grand Prix for 1990. And this is going to be all action very shortly because Paolo Barilla's got 5 guys all pounding down on him. Boutsen, I think, will be able to get past on the straight. Nannini will undoubtedly try to dive through in the slipstream of Boutsen, but no, I think the gap's too far. But look at Berger coming alongside Nigel Mansell and taking 4th spot from Nigel Mansell. Berger putting Mansell back into 5th place.
Yeah, Mansell tried to squeeze him into the Armco there, which is fair enough. And Mansell trying to go back round, and he does.
He's going round the long way and he's taking it back, but he's on the outside. Berger not conceding, but he has to give up. And that was a courageous move. Nigel Mansell has done nothing but a fighter. Berger must have wondered, what have I done? I passed the guy, and suddenly he's coming round the outside, the long way round, on the marbles, and I've just lost my 4th spot.
But it did open up the gap. Meanwhile, Riccardo Patrese is putting in some quick laps. He is now up to 7th place, and on his fresh tyre.
And Senna has touched Nannini, and Senna have collided. Senna went up the inside of Nannini. Nannini really had nowhere to go. He had the corner. They collided. Senna's gone on. Nannini has dropped back. It looks like his left rear wheel is at a funny angle. We have to wait and see what happens, but let's look at it again. Senna took an enormous flower, went down the inside, didn't lock his brakes, went on the inside up the curb, but look how high Nannini's car went over the curb, almost into the gravel trap. That was really, really, well, I would say naughty of Senna. He didn't have any right to take the corner.
These men definitely fine athletes, and There is a war of psychology going on out there now.
Berger has passed Mansell and tipped Mansell identically as Senna did to Nannini. That's a really, well, it's the most unsuitable place to pass on the circuit.
And he's
lost the engine, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that shows you the level of commitment that sometimes overcommitment. Berger really had no right to do that. He did exactly the same as Senna did on Nannini. Clipped the rear wheel of Mansell, threw Mansell up in the air, Mansell in the gravel trap. And really, I think now all Boutsen has got to do is ensure he makes no mistakes. He's only a number of corners left before he takes the checkered flag, but there is one more slow car ahead of Boutsen. But I think it's almost sure that Senna has conceded in his own mind to second spot.
It's Caffey.
But Senna closer again. It's going to be a sprint across the line if Senna can get himself into position through this corner.
Keeps out of the way.
Well, it's Boutsen's race.
Thierry Boutsen is coming towards the checkered flag. Thierry Boutsen of Belgium wins it from Ayrton Senna. The most magnificent race of the season. What a battle. During part of the race we had 5 cars racing wheel to wheel. Then they started to eliminate themselves, and it is Thierry Boutsen who indeed has led every single lap of this race. A marvellous Hungaroring, a marvellous Hungarian race. Boutsen, the winner, the official distance, 0.288 of a second.
There are circuits which are not the most exciting ones to drive, or the pleasant one to for drivers. Some of them are difficult for overtaking, like Spain or Hungary. It makes life so hard for us. And they contribute only for disagreements. Because since the cars are so close together, so near in performance, and we fight so close throughout the race, in order to overtake, you have to go very hard and very near to each other. And eventually you end up touching or having an incident. And that is not so good, because only contributes to have some polemics, which for me is a waste of time. But they are part of the championship, and you have to cope with those situations in the best way possible.
10 races run, and Ayrton Senna had regained his lead in the Drivers' Championship with a 10-point advantage over Alain Prost. Berger was third, Boutsen fourth, and a revitalised Nelson Piquet fifth. We'll be in Belgium after the break. Welcome back. Spa in Belgium was the venue for round 11. The fast sweeping curves make this a favourite circuit with the drivers. The 1990 race was destined to play a pivotal role in the outcome of the championship. The momentum was now back with Senna, and, accompanied by his father, he chose this moment to announce that he had re-signed for McLaren.
It's a 2-year agreement. As the communiqué says, with an optional second year, but both sides are going to this new contract with the state of mind of working for it to be a successful 2-year period.
Ayrton's a very complex individual, and we have a great attention to detail in the document that constitutes the agreement, and therefore it just took a long time to get every single part right. But we're very happy with the outcome.
Ayrton duly celebrated his new contract by taking yet another pole position, the 48th of his career. Victory in the race would give him a commanding lead in the championship. What were his thoughts about the outcome?
It was probably the most stressful race of the season, because we were involved in the atmosphere itself of sitting in the car, preparing, getting ready for the start, which is the moment that you get more intense, more anxious and nervous. We had to do it 3-4 times. 1, twice, 3 times. It was going forever. And I couldn't believe after the first time, because one is enough. then we go for the second, and we go again for the third. One stage I wished to just get out of the car and go away, not even bother for the next one, because it was just tremendous to put yourself together at every time the same way, go through the same procedures, and your heart just going, your adrenaline going. It was too much. But again, it proved to be a determined race result for the championship. Under those circumstances, that day, a victory like we achieved, it means a championship. It reflects the level of commitment and concentration and desire to win. And in the end, it was a beautiful day for me.
Red lights are on. And
again, it's a very quick start. The red light went to green very quickly indeed. But we've seemed to have so far, and Senna now locked up his wheels, but again in the middle of Brabham, locked on his brakes. But let's have a look and see, had they all managed to make it round La Source? Well, we appear to have had a clean start to the third restart of the Grand Prix, but we've still got to go through another 43 laps.
Right, so 189, just a little less than that now, miles ahead of them, and thankfully everybody breathes a sigh of relief as they stream out of Radion onto the Kemmel Straight up to 195 miles an hour, then bang on the brakes, and it's Berger second, then the Ferrari, then Boutsen.
And there's Nigel Mansell. He's decided to give it up. End of his day, a very frustrated and unhappy Nigel Mansell, I must say, walking away from his car totally dejected. And I think this will be one very happy Brazilian boy, Ayrton Senna. Another victory for him, and really an important victory yet again, because his championship point situation is going to get the maximum score. Alain Prost will drop a further 3 points behind him. So that will put him, I think, 13 points ahead.
Yes, of course, his third Belgian Grand Prix in a row, as I said, but not his second victory in a row. That Terry Boutsen won at Hungary, but his second victory on the really fast circuits in a row. There he comes, up through Blanchimont for the last time, down into the bus stop chicane. No mistakes here. Gently over the curves this time. Indeed, he's probably one of the more gentle drivers of them all, and he's coming up, and what a record. He's going to take his 25th Grand Prix win and his third Spa Grand Prix in a row. There's Prost coming through in second place, only 3.5 seconds behind the two main protagonists in the 1990 World Championship, having an epic battle here at Spa.
With just 5 races left, Senna had a 13-point lead over Prost. Berger was third, Boutsen fourth, and Nelson Piquet fifth. On to Monza and round 12, the Italian Grand Prix. Senna had never won here despite leading on several occasions, and in qualifying he set about the task of changing his fortunes. Senna is the acknowledged master of the flying lap. There was little more than a minute of the session left to run when he took his only stab at bettering the world champion's time. His engine problems meant he could manage no better than 28th place in the morning's untimed session, yet he put all the disruption behind him to storm round the circuit in the fastest time witnessed at Monza since the new chicanes were added, his 49th pole. The race underway, and Ayrton was leading on the first lap as the field rounded the Parabolica.
Thank goodness we've got off to a clean start to this 1990 Italian Grand Prix. And here they are streaming out of this long and very... Oh, and one of the Lotus has run wide and have a huge chance. That's Derek Warwick. His car's upside down. The two left-hand wheels are off. His car, there's a small... That's just really a vapor fire. There's no problem, but I think we might well see a red flag coming out. Derek Warwick is okay. Derek, he's out of the car. Totally unhurt, but Derek ran wide on the exit of the corner. An enormous shunt for Derek. Water and oil pouring out of the radiators. As you see, Derek Warwick absolutely unhurt, but a major shunt on the Parabolica just before the end of the first lap. We've got the red flag. Yes. Derek Warwick running back to the pits. He wants to go motor racing. He's going to jump into the spare car and take the restart.
Yes, another restart, but no signs of stress from Ayrton as he took a commanding lead, and despite the best efforts of Prost and Ferrari, he always looked like winning.
But really, he's driven a superb race, and my anticipated pit stop race has been proved wrong. Senna started on the B compound, and it was the right choice.
Senna has been on the victory rostrum here before. He's had a second and he has had a third place. Oh, that's a shame. There's Alboreto right at the end of the race. Beached on those high curbstones. So that'll move Nicola Larini up a spot.
And Berger's closer to Prost than any time at all. He's not really close enough, I think, to threaten Prost for a second slot. But of course, I can't believe that Prost is lifting off and cruising home as Ayrton Senna we see doing here.
Senna down into the Parabolica for the very last time. Sweeps round it. Heads towards the checkered flag. The crowd not that excited. And there it is. Ayrton Senna, the winner, his first Italian Grand Prix. He increases his lead in the World Championship. Alain Prost finishes second, 6 seconds behind. Gerhard Berger third, 1.3 seconds behind him.
It was a great race to win Monza, because we were in the crucial time of the championship, almost decision time. And again, there was so much pressure at that stage in the championship. Ferrari coming stronger and stronger. Being in Italy, can you imagine all the crowd, all the tifosi going mad about Ferrari and automatically against us. And it was difficult to handle, difficult psychologically to handle the atmosphere, the pressure, the people around, their behavior in many ways. And for me to have achieved pole position, the victory, the fastest lap, new lap record, it was perfect under the circumstances, and at the stage of the championship it was perhaps my best result, my best race of the year.
A first ever win at Monza for Senna, and a victory that was especially sweet for the McLaren team. After the race, Prost and Senna publicly shook hands, thus bringing to an end the feud that had lasted over a year. The gap between the two was now 16 points as they moved on to Portugal, with Prost desperately needing a win to stay in the title chase.
Well, there is the flag which gets the starter ready, and it is go very quickly, and that caught a couple of people out, and look how Mansell came across. Senna, however, making a superb start, and it is Senna who powers into the lead, but then Berger goes down the inside as they go out of our picture.
Yes, both McLarens got away from the grid very well there. Good traction off the grid. The Ferraris actually held one another up a little bit. Nigel moving across to the right probably lost a little bit of grip because the inside of the track's always a little bit dustier.
Now Mansell very, very close. Is he going to try this time?
Yes, he's in good shape here. He's close enough to make a charge down the inside. And Senna well remembers last year and given way to Mansell. Mansell into the lead. Fantastic move. Chose his time well, and patience paid off.
Nigel Mansell then leads the Portuguese Grand Prix. We see it again. A perfect manoeuvre. No repeat of last year's problem. The sparks fly and Mansell goes into the lead. Nigel Mansell, who has not won a Grand Prix for a year, is leading from Ayrton Senna. Gerhard Berger is 5 seconds behind this duo, and can Senna fight back?
A crash by Alex Caffey in the Arrows brought the race to a premature end. Mansell being declared the winner, Senna second, and a furious Alain Prost in third. Prost claimed that Mansell's start had ruined his chances of victory and had probably cost him the championship. The spirit of friendship between Senna and his rivals, begun at Monza, continued as he and Mansell embraced on the podium. But did Ayrton now feel that the championship was his?
After Portugal, looking at it, all if things would go completely wrong and in a totally unusual way, we wouldn't win. And you have to think positive. And looking back the whole season, there was no way that would happen. It was only a question of time. And continue doing the same way that we've been doing the whole season. And it proved right.
The Spanish Grand Prix at Jerez, and Prost now had to win to retain any chance of championship glory. But the events of the weekend were overshadowed by a terrible accident suffered by Britain's Martin Donnelly, one of the worst ever seen. His body lay like a rag doll on the track. His car had gone straight on into the barriers at 171 miles an hour. There were immediate fears for his life, but Martin had survived, just.
By definition, our activity, motor racing, is dangerous. It's dangerous. And when you face a situation like Donnelly's accident during a qualifying session, where by a miracle he escapes alive, and I happened to see it close with my eyes, the state of it afterwards, and his conditions and so on, when the practice was stopped. It makes you really wonder if is it really worth doing it, and why are you really doing it? Why every time you go into the car and exposing yourself to danger? And it's difficult to find the answer, a precise answer, like a black and white situation. Nevertheless, some of the feelings that we get from driving, from competing, we don't get in anything else in life. Some of it, I'm sure, the pure fact that we know we are exposed to danger and risks, and we cope with it better than many people, or people that just have a normal life, becomes a challenge. It becomes a pleasure, in a way, to know that you are controlling your own feelings over very difficult moments, dangerous moments.
And we're glad to be able to report that Martin is making a good recovery in hospital, and it's hoped that he may be allowed to go home for Christmas. Senna had meanwhile taken his 50th career pole. Could he clinch the championship here in Spain?
Engines roaring, lights are red, lights are green, both make good starts. It looks like a clean start. It is Senna who goes into the lead. Ferrari's second and third. Gerhard, and look at
Alain tipped. Jean Alain tipped. Patrese, Williams, the left rear, the puncture. The left rear tire is punctured. Alain is out. We were worried about Alain trying to do what we saw him do in Monza. That's a flyer. But he touched Riccardo Patrese's car, pushed Patrese out to the left. Patrese came back on the track, but of course Alain was in the sand trap at the first corner, and he is out of the race. But let's look at it again, and we see Senna, and look how broadside Prost gets. Now Mansell did that last week in Estoril. Prost is doing to Mansell what Mansell did to Prost. Now look at Jean Alain there, 3 cars abreast, Berger, Alain and Patrese. Berger pushed, in fact it was Berger's fault. Berger pushed Alain into Patrese. That was what caused the left rear tire completely deflated. When he puts the brakes on, the car just goes into a spin. So really, Jean Alain was, I think, quite innocent. Let's watch this McLaren's pit stop. This is going to be the most crucial pit stop of the year for Ayrton Senna. And another superb 5.7, and absolutely superb. I hope all those wheel nuts were done uptight. That was absolutely superb. Alain Prost takes the lead just ahead of Senna. Senna coming down the inside. The 2 cars side by Nigel Mansell. It's Prost, Senna, Mansell. And Senna really just muscled his way past Nigel Mansell.
And there you see Nigel Mansell going through into second place, and I was about to tell you that I thought there was a problem with Senna's engine, and yes, look at that smoke.
Yes, we saw, look, there's water coming out. He's got a stone hole in the radiator. That is water coming out of the right-hand radiator, right onto the rear tire of Ayrton Senna's car. So Ayrton Senna's race is going to be over. He's going to have to go into the pits now, and maybe that has been a problem that he's been suffering for the last few laps. Let's look again. Nigel Mansell getting past Ayrton Senna. In fact, Ayrton Senna waved Mansell through.
Senna has pulled off.
Yes, that's him out. The engine finally ran out of water. And really, what a great shame for Ayrton Senna. Berger having a look down the inside of Boots, and they're going to collide. Yes, they did. Oh, Daisy. Well, that was really rather unfortunate. Boutsen ought to have conceded the corner once Berger got that far the inside, but he decided not to, and he bullied it out with Berger. They had one little nudge, and then they had a second bite of the nudge, and Berger went up in the air. But now he's 2 corners away from victory. I couldn't say that he could actually coast across the line if it all quit on him, because this corner here is a slow second gear left-hand corner, and it's about 400 metres from here to the start-finish line. But Alain Prost, I can now say, has won the Spanish Grand Prix, and a superb victory for him, for Ferrari, and really for the championship.
So Ferrari still just in the hunt, and the following day Nigel Mansell announced that he had decided to drive for Williams next year.
Monday, today, which is the 1st of October, an agreement was signed somewhere around about 11 o'clock.
You're going to launch this one then? Right, you get ready.
So Mansell's future decided, and his family happy at the decision. Join us after the break for the championship conclusion.
Oh! That was a good one.
15 was at Suzuka in Japan. This is Honda's home circuit, but there was still much speculation that the track might favour the Ferrari of Prost. The Frenchman had to win to take the championship to the final round in Australia. Was he worried about racing on Honda's home patch?
I think they have an advantage for sure on the engine side, but the engine is not everything in a car, and the only thing I'm a bit worried is for qualifying. I mean, they must have a very, very good qualifying engine, and they must do everything they can to be on pole, because they know that if they are on pole, the race will be easier for them. If they are not on pole, they have no chance to win the race. If I start first at the first corner, I think they have no chance to win the race.
Senna, however, had taken pole, but there was some disagreement over which side of the track he should start from. Ayrton wanted to start on the left, where the track looked cleaner, but the steward said no, and the scene was set for a battle royal.
Quick start, yes, Prost has got a great start. Prost has taken the lead he wanted into the first corner. Senna looking to come down the inside. Is he trying? Yes, he is. The touch! Both cars arrived! Senna, Prost, off in the first corner. Senna touched Prost, both driving right. Senna is the world champion, but wait, there will be a restart, I'm sure. We will see this race being red flagged. Although both cars are well off the racetrack. Well, my goodness, I cannot believe what I've just watched. Alain Prost had the lead. Ayrton Senna tried to come down the inside. If things are left as they are, Ayrton Senna is the world champion for 1990. Alain Prost absolutely disgusted. Let's watch it again. Prost on the left-hand side of the track gets the advantage, pulls across. Senna behind him. Now Senna coming out, trying to get down the inside, but really there was no way for Senna to get through there. There was a closing gap. He had no opportunity. I have to say he may not have really been too concerned about it, because he knew by taking Prost off. And Berger's gone off now. Gerhard Berger has gone off on the first corner.
The race is definitely still on, so Senna is definitely the world champion. Let's get that in. The race continues.
Mansell now looks set to take his second win of the season. A superb pit stop by the Ferrari team seemed to have settled the matter, and then disaster struck.
Well, look at that, fantastic, 5.82 seconds, absolutely superb. But he's got the wheels, he's the gearbox, he's broken his gearbox. He dropped the clutch, got a million revs, the car spun the wheel, now I think he's broken the gearbox. Nigel Mansell cruising to a stop. Oh, absolutely unbelievable, Nigel Mansell. Superb pit stop, got the car in first gear, gave it a million revs, dropped the clutch, the wheel spun, he went for second gear, and suddenly there was no drive.
Well, Nelson Piquet coming now in front of us. The crowd cheers and waves. The checkered flag goes down, and Nelson Piquet wins the Japanese Grand Prix.
But it was a victory tinged with sadness for the Benetton team. Alessandro Nannini had been seriously injured in a helicopter accident a week before the race. His stand-in, Roberto Marino, drove brilliantly to claim second place and was overwhelmed by it all. The new world champion, however, was Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton Senna, I've heard that you've recently run the World Championship. Have you got something to say about this?
It's over. I think for sure I want to win the race today. in the same way I won in '88 to win the championship. Unfortunately, it went wrong on the first corner. There was a big risk. I had nothing to lose on the first corner. I want to win, and I went for a gap in inside on the first corner. Alain didn't see it and just closed the door, and we ended up touching. That's too bad for the championship, because I'm sure the race would have been full of excitement. But last year I lost in a similar manner towards the end of the race instead of the beginning, and this year went wrong for him.
I think the main thing is to be sure for yourself that you're doing the thing in the right way for you and not for other people. And if you know who you are and where you're walking about and where you're heading for, that's what it matters. Of course, to get lots of criticism and lots of disagreements is not nice, because only takes away some pleasure from your profession. And Japan was one of those situations. But it was not the first, and will not be the last either. So I can cope with it. I don't have a problem.
The final round was in Adelaide, Australia, and with the championship decided, Ayrton could afford to be a little more relaxed, but he still had other goals in mind.
Australia is one of the few races I haven't won in my career, together with Brazil and France. I've been near to do it, doing it a few occasions, but always somehow something went wrong. Mechanical failure, or driver mistake, or bad conditions like a year ago in the rain when no visibility was there. And again was another weekend like this. We had a tremendous weekend again, dominating from the beginning. Was very nice to drive with the championship finish, so we no pressure on championship, just normal pressure trying to win a race. And I enjoy very much. I drove very natural, in a very relaxed manner. Some moments actually I had even to wind up myself a little bit to bring up the concentration. And on the race day itself, we had a good start, good conditions, it was very hot. And by those conditions, everything was on the limit. The brakes, the tires, the engine, including the driver, just about overheating. And being such a long race, it's been tough. We almost did it, almost right at the end, after the whole hard work had been done, when you were just supposed to cruise around. Something went wrong, and I could not engage a gear in deceleration, and I went in neutral. Finally into that corner, and I couldn't control the car. And unfortunately that finished the race in not the best way. But it's not the last time and not the first time that I lose a race that was almost won. And I only have to learn from it, the experience as a whole. Look forward to the future. There will be another Australian Grand Prix next year in Adelaide, so we will be trying again. And together with Brazil Grand Prix, with the French Grand Prix, is something new for me next year to go for, apart from another championship.
With Senna out, once again it was Nelson Piquet in the lead, but on the final lap he was chased hard by Nigel Mansell.
The Benetton just still appears to have that little bit of edge. He's able to pull out quickly coming out of the straight. Mansell really not able to take advantage of the slip.
Oh,
Mansell going down the inside. Oh, my goodness. What an effort, Mansell. Well, he went for it. Yes. He went down the inside, left his braking ever so late, locked it up, and how lucky Piquet was. He just
so brave.
missed the back of that Benetton.
Yes, well, that's it, I think now. Nelson Piquet, just see it again. Look, so late on the brakes, Mansell.
And really how the two cars didn't collide is quite amazing.
Nigel Mansell wins.
Nelson Piquet wins.
Oh dear,
Nigel Mansell
it's been so
second.
exciting, John.
Well, that's been a great,
look at the team there.
Absolutely superb.
So Senna confirmed as champion with Prost second. Right now it's time for us to bid farewell. Let's leave you with the new 1990 world champion as he contemplates the prospect of a new season in 1991.
Everything leads me to believe that I will be in a much better shape than I was a few months ago. And therefore I can only look forward to it in a much more positive state of mind.